Hello and good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Trani here, going to dive into today's masterclass. It is all about After Effects and recent update we've had to After Effects, really enabling you to an update for designers. Honestly, especially if you're new to After Effects, I think it's nice. So I want to welcome everyone. Feel free to say hi in chat. So good morning, everyone. Let's make sure that is working. Let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. Hello, Peter, Froja, Annika. Thank you for that, Annika. I really appreciate it. Good morning. I see you out there, Edmilson. Awesome. Well, cool. Excuse me. Yeah, let's kind of dive into this, shall we? I'm going to have a lot of fun just creating things in After Effects and Illustrator, and maybe we'll jump into Photoshop too. So that is kind of the plan. We can kind of be all over the place, which I think will be good. But basically bringing designs to life, which I already have set up. So let's just jump in there and have some fun. Here we are. All right, so pretty straightforward. I have a couple like cool things, of course, like a skull. This is the brand we're working with, by the way. So we'll just place this right in here. The Art Alchemist, which I just think is just like a cool name for sort of online profile for a designer. And let's get a couple of other things like this. A little eyeball. Let's throw an eyeball in there. And some hands. Like so. These have quite a few lines, so we'll see how these come together. So that's the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about, but that's okay. So we'll just take these and kind of roll this back a little bit. Here's kind of the final design. I'm just going to replace a couple of these elements is all, because these are library items, and I don't need them linked back to the library. So anyways, here's my artwork. Let's get rid of that artboard. Let's get rid of that artboard and the stuff on them. So don't mind as I kind of clean some of this up. This is the solo design I want to work with. So save it. There we go. Alchemist. Save it and done. Hello, Douglas. How you doing? So here I have my design. And again, this is often the case where you make something, and again, we want to just kind of animate it, bring it to life in After Effects. So here I am in After Effects. I can go to my desktop. Here's my design we're just looking at, and we could just drop it in here. Right? We can drop it in and make this a composition that is going to be the, let's go document size and click OK. And there's my artwork. Here it is, all of this stuff. My logo, the potion, the hands, all of that are all in here. So let's take a look at it. We have, it looks like it actually did not quite, oh, that's why. It brought everything on layers that were named, but I technically had everything on one layer. So let me fix this really fast, if you don't mind. So let's cut this. We have the eye, paste that on its own layer. That's the problem I'm having. The logo is on this layer. Sorry I didn't have this set up before, but that is okay. Let's get the potion. Here's the potion. Hands. And that's about it. There we are. So I have everything kind of separated out into layers. Now let's get to it. I have that saved, right? And I think that setup is important. But now let's go in here. Just delete that. Back to where we were. Let me kind of check in on chat with you guys. How you guys doing today? Reverb Mike, what's up? Yeah, Reverb Mike, we took your fonts from you because we didn't really like the fonts you had, so we had to confiscate some. Just the way you were using them, we just like were a little concerned. I'm just kidding. Let me know what you need. Let me know. This doesn't help me. Like, you got to be a little more specific. Yeah. All right, here we are. So we have the logo separated out. All this stuff. The potion is on its own layer. And now we can animate it. So let's bring back the project panel. There we go. There we go. And let's zoom out. All right. Yeah, just going to play with some of this. So yeah, Mike, I'm wondering what you're talking about concerning your fonts disappearing in what app sort of a situation. But so here I have all this stuff, and I want to animate it. So if you do want to really animate something, you can animate all the properties. What's nice for, say, this logo right here, you have this new like properties panel. The properties panel has everything that you need to animate. So this is the idea. So rather than having to drill down into any one of these layers down here, you can just select that layer and say, hey, you know what? I want to make it scale up. So you can literally turn that on. Watch what happens when I turn that on. It gives me that keyframe right there. So I could just work right in here with my properties panel and start to expose all the properties down here. So the idea is use this properties panel if you want to, rather than digging in to all these properties down here in the timeline. So these basically work together. You know, I might jump ahead, say 1 second. I might want to scale it up some, like so. You know, it adds that keyframe. Go to 2 seconds in, scale it back down to 100%. So now I'll take that, that'll go up. And actually, let's even start down here. At its starting position, we'll bring that to, say, 0. Scale of 0. And now it'll go up and then back down. For this properties panel, and it's going to get much more robust in a second, but if I select this, we can right click right here and we get all those properties that I typically have down here for those keyframes. So here I would just do like an easy ease, have it slow in and slow out. So now it goes up and then kind of rests in a place. So that's kind of the idea. All right, and just so you guys know, yeah, Jane Bradbury, what's up? So this is in the latest version of After Effects, just so you know. And yeah, let me know like kind of what's happening. So After Effects, notice how it's already updated. It just says open, it doesn't say update. But you can take a look at those. Let's see what else. Ooh, I need to update Illustrator for some stability fixes and Photoshop. But those are like brand new updates. So anyways, let's have that do that thing. That goes up and then back down. Now, let's dive into this a little closer. So I have these, like this potion and the hands. The hands are kind of nice. Let's just animate those really fast. And I'll probably change the timeline. Let's have this only go for like 10 seconds. And let's play with these hands. Where do they start initially? I can move them around like so. We'll scrub them down. Whoop. Zip. We'll have them rise up from the bottom. So properties panel, I just clicked right there. Right, we can kind of scrub in, raise the hands. Zip. like so. Make sure this has easy ease on it because we want it to slow down as it reaches that second keyframe. Anyways, I just kind of want to animate this and have some fun. Where's my eye? The eye I should probably blink. But let's just have it drop from the top. And let's actually have our triangle. Let's actually make some elements. So, because a lot of these elements right in here, this burst, that triangle, we can make that stuff in After Effects. So we're going to do that, and we're really going to explore the properties panel. So we'll go right up here, right? We can twirl this down. Might be set to the rectangle tool. We want to change that to the star tool, right? Here's the fill. Here's the stroke. I love this fill color. I'm really into hot pink. But we'll just go ahead and click and drag, and now we can see we have this, obviously, this star. So we'll kind of move that down, see what that looks like, and then start playing with all the properties. So look at over here. Look at my properties panel now, like has everything. We can start to work with a number of points. Notice how they all have that sharp end. Well, we can round the caps and round the joints and take the points. Actually, I need to take down the, I could do the inner radius, outer radius. Here we go, stroke width. Let's take down that stroke width. And it could be something like that. Maybe you guys aren't crazy about the fill color. I don't know what you think. Yeah, so I'm not sure about that. Let's just change that to a blue. And see what else we can play with. Maybe make it a little bit pointier. Like that. Okay, there that is. That is my shape layer. With that same layer selected, I can create something else. So I'll draw another star right up here, and it adds it to that same layer, right? So look at it, has sort of polystar number 2, the second one I just made, and the first one. So now I have these two both on this same shape layer. But what's nice is I just have this whole panel of space to work with rather than being crammed down here. Because how I would normally work, like pre sort of this version, is I would have all this stuff down here that's just kind of, I don't know if it's that intuitive. I would have properties down here that I'd play with, and then I'd have all this stuff over here. So it's nice not having to deal with like this area. Sure, I'll still control the timeline, but I just like having that all kind of tucked away, not taking up so much screen real estate and allowing me to work on this side. So again, works for me. We can select this star. We can put the star right here. And let's turn off some of the other elements just so we can see everything. The eye. All right, so here's the second element. I'm going to change this to a polygon, and we'll only give it 3 sides. Right, making our triangle. Piece of cake. Make it a little larger. Remember, it has the same fill color, so the fill color is the background, so it's overlaying on top of that star, and we get something like that. But this is just nice, gives me some flexibility. Go in here. I really wish I could double-click and change the name of that polystar, because I'd want to call this triangle and then star, but that's okay. We'll drop down the stroke width to about 4, and then we can play with these elements too. Like we might want to rotate this or something. Maybe I'll actually just keep it. I think I'll keep this, the triangle the way it is, and then I'll select the star beneath it. And this is where I want to like start animating it, right? So, yeah, play with it today, Derek. I'd like to hear that. Question from you, does the panel change based on what is selected? Yes, definitely. Definitely based on the layer. So know how I was working with like the logo earlier. If I go back and select that logo, we can see, obviously, my properties panel has changed. So it does change based on what you have selected. And then within it, because this is where things get maybe a little bit more advanced, you know, I have this shape layer that has multiple elements on it. So yes, I have that shape layer selected, but within that shape layer, I have 2 vector shapes that I can then select and then start modifying the properties. So the polystar underneath, I'm going to select that. I want it to, let's have it, maybe this is how I'll usually work, is like I'll start with my final, how I want my logo to end up, right? With all my final stuff, right? And then I'll add a keyframe. So down here, I'll just turn this on. Watch when I hit position, boom, it adds that keyframe. I'll hit scale, definitely, boom, right? I might turn on rotation. I might try a couple of those things. Mainly what I'm going to animate is the scale, right? So now I'll go back to frame 0 or 1, and then I'll take the scale down. Oops. Ooh, this is interesting. Hold on one second. Sorry, I was actually dealing with the whole layer, so I really don't need to do that stuff. Let me go back in. Let me get rid of it. So here I would select this polystar. This is sort of the layer as a whole, and this is the object in itself. So sorry about that. Let's go back down here. 1 second in, turn on position, scale, rotation, right? Maybe opacity. We could play with all this stuff. And then we'll go back to frame 1. We'll scale it down to, 0%. And now I'll hit the space bar and we can see that kind of pop up. But we might want this to sort of like rotate into place. But I have even like cooler ideas with this, right? Rotation's pretty easy, right? We could take rotation, and have it rotate once. So it'll kind of spin into place like that. It goes awfully fast, right? Maybe one spin is too much. Maybe we could just do 45 degrees and we'll watch it kind of rotate into place. But what I think would be fun is if we start playing with these other elements, like the points, right? So the points, we might want it to end up with 14 points. But let's have it. We'll just kind of scrub down further. We'll turn on points right here. It adds that keyframe. And we'll start it with like 3. So now it's kind of like pretty much a triangle. So we can go sort of morph this from a triangle into, a star like that. So that's what I'm kind of looking at would be cooler than just a rotation. Rotation is lame. But now this is looking cooler. So, and we can still play with all these elements. Maybe we'll give it more points. Maybe we'll stretch them out. And yeah, I think we'll try something like that. Let's just play with this a little bit. Thoughts? Goes awfully fast. I think once it reaches this point, then we should do the smooth rotation. So let's get that rotation. We'll extend it out for 10 seconds. And now we have this kind of coming up and then doing its rotation. Let's turn on our logo. Okay, there we go. Let me show you this real fast. I did this a couple weeks ago too, so sorry for not looking at the chat. What's up, PJ? It does like a little wave. That's right. How is everybody doing? That's a great question. How's everybody doing today? So this came in as just a regular shape. Like, let's take a look at even some of these others. Let me look at the eye. The eye was pretty interesting. I should probably, maybe make this eye. Let's take a look at this eye. I'm going to right click. We'll create shapes from vector layer. We're going to see all the elements in this. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I should have simplified this a little bit more. Let's take this group. So basically what I did is I said, hey, you're from Illustrator. Since you're from Illustrator, I can convert you to a shape layer, right? Like I just made. And in this case, convert the eye into a shape layer. That gives me access to all of this layer content, right? So I can actually try to come in here and select this group, for instance. So we could start to animate this, even though it's sort of like, you know, I could have the whole thing animate, but I want these tiers to kind of drop. So I'll take that. And based on what we've learned, right, we want to play with the position of this particular element. So we'll just go ahead and click right there. Adds a keyframe right there. I didn't have to dig for it because it would just be a long way down. So we could have it start there and then scrub in a little further, and we'll just kind of move that down like so, right? So now it'll go sort of from point A to point B. I kind of want this to happen over maybe the whole course of the timeline. And maybe it will happen over 10 seconds. So it just has that smooth animation. That comes down, and then you can see that kind of dripping, which is kind of nice. Select this again. Let's kind of move that up. You get the idea. You get the idea. We'll do that with this one too. Position. Move it up. Right? And then move it down. Maybe it'll drip at like a different rate. Same thing for this one. Position. Maybe that one's a little faster, but they're all just kind of moving at more of an organic pace. Like so. So now we have the drips. Take a look at that eye, and now you can see those drips kind of moving down. Cool. All right. Everybody's doing good. Afrosia, you're doing good. Good here. That's doing its thing. If I wanted to animate the eye blinking, I could do that. I'm not going to worry about that because that is going to take the whole hour. And, you know, I wish AI could come in and just help me with that. It's like, hey, can you just make this blink? If I could type that in and say, hey, you should blink. Blink for me. These could all grow. That's okay. Cool. Oh, I keep doing that. I'm so used to hitting Command O to fit to screen. When that in After Effects, it actually just makes the project panel go away. So this is doing its thing. Let's take a look at this logo. Let's add something to the logo. Maybe it needs a glow or a stroke. Let's try like a stroke on this. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this. Okay, so maybe I won't worry about the stroke. So basically what I'm noticing is I'd like to have this text stand out a little bit more. It's getting a little kind of hard to read. You know, so this is where I would use something, honestly, I'd probably use Overlord to kind of push this back and forth. Because basically, I would like to modify this back in Illustrator. So here's where I have that design. Here's my text already. So in Illustrator, all I need to do is, you know, add the same stroke color, which should be this one. It's kind of what I want. Make sure it's on the outside. That's what I'm going for. So let's take this. Let's go to Window. You know, Overlord's an extension that you can get, which is awesome. Allows you to push and pull between After Effects and Illustrator. So let's push it. Let's see what happens. It actually sort of gives me all these crazy layers. If that ever happens, it's nice because I do have that sort of level of control with each letter. Don't really need that, so we'll just go back into Illustrator and take this and make sure it is grouped. And it is already grouped. Let's save this as a symbol, and now let's push it. See what happens. Okay, so maybe not that. Maybe not that. Yeah, this is already a group, and that's kind of what I'm struggling with now. So anyways, that's how this works. We could push there, you get all these layers, and I could start animating them or whatever. All right, let's move on from that. We have that turned on, and we have our little animation. Our hands are still there, right? We can see the hands rising up. And again, we could still take this and convert this to shapes on a vector layer that then gives me all of these properties within here, all my contents, which is also right up here, like so. But let's add some more text to this because I want to show you the text controls within After Effects. But first, let me tweak this a little bit. I feel like the opacity, probably need to drop that down. This is a little bit too strong. So let me just play with this a little bit. Make this a little larger. Make the logo a little smaller. And play with these lines some more. So bear with me as I kind of tighten this up because I'm a little bit embarrassed by just like how it looks right now. The lines aren't the same thickness as my design, but I'm fixing that right now. Should be like 3 or 2. And we have to adjust that for each one. So stroked width, that was really, really thick. Change that to like 3. And yeah, let me know if you guys have questions too. And let me check over there on YouTube and Facebook. So awesome. All right, so let's take a look at this now. This should look better. That's there. That comes in, rests into place. Stretch. We'll play with the timing a little bit more. Let's bring up this potion. This little potion should be like right there. We'll scale it down. Like so. And for the potion, we're just going to animate its opacity. Cool. All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's add some text to this. Let me drink some of my iced coffee. All right, we have our quick little intro. It's going to go like that. And then we're going to do sort of like phase 2 of this. So let's save this. And we'll add some to this. We'll take this, we're going to duplicate that composition, and we're going to use a lot of this stuff, but not everything. So sort of this is the next animation we're going to build. We'll pull out some of this stuff, the potion, some of these other elements, and we're going to add some text. Pretty straightforward here. Whoop, whoop. Work it. Let's play with some fonts here in a second. I'm sure everybody's judging me on what I have in here right now. And let's mix it up. There's a font I like, and it's called Ono. It's called Ono Blazeface. I like Ono Blazeface. So it's just really, really fun and playful. So that's what I'm changing this to. Ooh, I like the 12 point is awfully nice too. Let's change. Yeah, maybe. 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 But this is going to be a little bit more fun because I'm going to keep it surreal. Let's keep it surreal. Wait for it. Here's my text. We're going to play with this a little bit more if that's cool. Yeah, Ono is awesome. You can't hide your judgy eyes. And the melty clocks. So yeah, we could add some melty clocks and some fun things. I want to actually bring in another element really fast. If you guys don't mind, I want to, because we haven't played with an image at all. So we are going to go to firefly.adobe.com. Give me a second to sign in, but we're going to use text effects, right? Totally just kind of has the, needs. If you're using the word surreal, you just need to you want to have fun with the text. So that's what I'm working with. Give me a second as I sign in. Wait for it. And we are back. you guys aren't aware, Adobe Firefly really enables you to sort of use eye and create images and text and even recolor vectors. And we're going to use text effects. So right in here, we'll just type in surreal, surreal, and we'll do pink and blue splashes of color of surreal wildlife. What I love about AI is like it has to do your bidding. It's like has to return something. So that's what I think is awesome. Right? What did I type in? Pink and blue splashes of a surreal wildlife. I had no idea what it would come up with, but I'm like, doesn't matter. Make it happen. We'll change this to some thicker text. So this is similar to our Oh No font. And we can see all this fun, like dripping bursts situation going on. We'll download that PNG file. We'll change this to say loose. Do we do pink and blue? Do we do more colors? Pink and blue and purple. Pink and blue and purple splashes. Because I want to make sure it just matches this blue color and the pinks in here and everything. So yeah, just give me a little bit broader sort of color palette. And that's what we'll go with. Download that. There that is. We'll open that up and edit it really fast. So yeah, PJ, you've been playing with Firefly. It's good to hear. It is pretty fun. Yeah, so I was going to edit this image real fast. You know, I could bring in a PSD too, but here this is. Keep in mind, this is not for commercial use currently, but I'm not using this for commercial use. I'm just deleting that logo. So again, I'm not going to sell it. I'm not making any money off of this. This is just for me, just for fun. And there that is. So, yeah, let's just save that. We have that done. This is just a PNG. We're keeping it simple. There it is. Drop it in here. Drop it in here. And scale it down. So again, just using that property panel. Zoop. We don't need this word surreal anymore because we got legit surreal text now. Super hard to read, but that's okay. It's a little hard to read. Like, I probably need to change the background or something. But anyways, there we have that. Just adjust some of these layers. And then we'll play with some of these elements. What do you think? Is it too hard to read? Yeah. A little hard to read, especially as we get into animating it. You know, we just have to think about what we want to do when we animate it. But either way, let's take this. We'll first just have it sort of fade in. So we'll turn on opacity. We'll scroll back to the first frame. We'll take opacity down to 0, right? And we can just have that fade in. Same thing for this text. This is actually live text, so you get more options over here if you want to animate it. So for this text, keep it. We might want to add an animator to this. So we can animate, say, the scale of this. Adds that animator right down here. There it is. And there's the scale of each one of those letters. So we can animate that, turn that on, scrub back, drop it down in size. Adjust the opacity too. So we'll turn that on. And we'll just have some fun here. There it is. Move that over here. have this animate with the rest of the text, but there that just kind of pops up. So I did that all from this properties panel. I added the animator. It, you know, sort of brings me down here where I can sort of do the rest of what I need to do. I don't know, you guys like that? Are you judging me too much? Make the background a light orange. Yeah, so is there enough contrast? So actually what I wanted to do is, so it is easy to read at this size. So I'm just concerned if it's going to go to, say, Instagram, I need a smaller screen. But nonetheless, let's actually work on the easing. Let's go to our Firefly asset. Effects and presets, and we'll play with some of the colors. So I like using like sort of color, there's color balance you can use. So hue, lightness, saturation. For color balance, it's nice being able to get a color wheel and then animating this color wheel. So there that is. I have this text selected. Let's turn this on. Bingo. Again, in any of these panels, if you see a stopwatch, that means you can animate it. We're going to turn on hue. And maybe we'll adjust this. We'll scrub down a little bit further, and we'll just like adjust this color wheel. So maybe it bounces out here to maybe be more orange. So does that stand out more? That actually doesn't look bad. I think what we're missing is maybe a contrasting color, but let's just kind of dip that way. Maybe it dips back. Nope, don't like that. I kind of like it dipping into these. To heck with it. We're going to go around 180 degrees. That's what we're going to do. Just type 1 in there. Boom. Bring that back. It's going to go all the way around the color wheel, and we're just going to see what we get. It's kind of cycling through those colors. Let's do it a couple more times. I'm thinking I could rotate through twice. 2 times. Now this will go much faster. So that looks a little better. It looks like it kind of has some movement. That's all I'm doing. Just keeping it simple. But that was just adding one effect. So I could really add as many as I want. Do we want to do a little colorama? Do we want to play with curves too? I don't know. You know, this is where I just start applying things and see what I get. So here's colorama. Colorama, we lose a lot of that detail. I mean, we could blend it with the original, but you can get sort of that electric look with Colorama. You know, we could also throw on curves and animate the curves. So let's turn off Colorama and like play with the curves as well. That can also be animated. And why not? Do it. Hit the U key on your keyboard. It will bring up, it's like the Uber key. It will bring up all of your keyframes. And now we're just kind of playing with curves in there as well. Any other options or things you want me to add? Make the background a light orange. I could do that. What sort of other animation should we do? Like a flicker or something? I just added a VHS Color Flicker. And you can see what's happening there. You can see what that's made of is all of this stuff. It adds glows, so it adds a glows. Displacement wave, which would be great to use. Venetian blinds for the lines. Wave warp. And some more glows. So... yeah, I don't know if you guys like that. Does it take us away from the organic look? Maybe. But usually when you add these creative effects, you get all of these other options, and might be a good way to learn. So I could use a displacement wave and a, what else would be good to use? Wave warp, right? So maybe what I do is I take some of this and I just use the wave warp. So let's undo that, get rid of that. Where's that going to be? It's going to be under distort. Here's wave warp, or just warp, which is great. But here's your wave warp. Right? So there's just a little bit of waviness. Let's increase the wave width. We need longer waves. Much longer. Like that. See, that's much better, don't you think? So I could add a couple of these wave warps. One of them going one direction. The other one, let's do 300. Going the other, like a vertical direction. So I've added both of those, and now you get this fun wavy feeling, right? Cool. We did it. And now I'm thinking about combining these two animations. And then maybe I'll post online. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to this project. We're going to duplicate it. Command D, I think it's interesting, at least with the right-click menu, there's no duplicate, which is kind of where I'd expect to see it. But just go ahead and hit Command D, because that's what we're used to in like Illustrator. Spacebar will allow you to rename it, and this will be our final. So in our final, we're going to just kind of combine some of these together. So we're going to go zoop like that. We're going to animate out some of these elements. And I'm just going to get to work because I only have 5 minutes. So this is going to animate up like that. That's only going to be there for 4 seconds, and then we're going to animate it out. So we're going to scale this up. Actually, I'm going to take this and I'm going to scale up the whole layer using the properties panel. Scale, click. There it is. Bingo. And we'll scale it up like so. We'll adjust the position. And by the way, maybe this won't work, but we'll play with it and find out. Zoop. Hands go away. Bye-bye, hands. Potion disappears. Logo fades away. So yeah, a lot of, I guess, design is just really you just talking to yourself, because that's what I'm doing. Opacity down to 0. Wait for it. And let's grab this. Bring it in here. Something like that. There we go. Cool. Finishing this up. There we go. Do your thing. So this is how animation goes. Just usually takes up your whole day. Like in a good way. Because you're like, hey, you know, I could constantly make improvements with this. Because first off, I want this to maybe draw on. You guys know how I love doing let me find it. I love doing the trim paths. So turning on trim paths. And then animating the start and the end. So trim paths animates on lines because I really want this to animate on. So we'll take this down to 0. So this is where we start. We go 0, that draws on. Those little whatever spikes come in, that goes to there. Yeah, that's what I have. Finished it just in time. Yeah, and I can render this out, but we'll just kind of play this. And just enjoy it, I guess. And that's where that is. So, yeah, just using that properties panel, which is like your gateway into animation. We have that fun stuff. We did a pretty good job. I mean, it was quick, it was dirty. And I don't know, fun for me. I love After Effects. I hope you guys do too. It's just a blast. So Emily, yeah, try this out. Thanks, Graham, for joining us. Marsha, it's a little movie. Keep it surreal. I probably should have thrown in a surreal like monster in there, right? Here's all the monsters that I would add to it. Because you know how I like starting something new at the very last minute. 30 seconds. I don't even need that long. Make me a surreal, psychedelic, colorful, mystical, twisted animal. So this would be sort of some of the frames inside of that triangle that I would add. But these guys are awesome. So would love to animate these too. But thanks for watching, everybody. Good hanging out with you. Try out the properties panel. Super fun that you can animate from there. And appreciate you guys watching. So we'll see y'all soon. Bye.